He's already answered this
Actually,
question.
he hasn't. Now I'd really
Because
like the
Yeah,
it's the same. It's the
I'm
same
just
rationale.
wondering.
Phil's right.
I'm just wondering if we could get Andrew to give his justification for why abortion's murder.
Well, so do you agree with me that when you're debating an issue, you're debating from your worldview, right? Do you agree with
Hello?
that? Yeah, can you hear me?
Can you just tell me why you abortion murder without asking?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you just said.
Yeah,
skipping.
can you tell me why abortion's murder under your view without asking me any questions? That would be great.
Well,
can you substantiate?
Yeah,
I'm trying that you made. What's the argument for that?
I'm trying to get clarification, right?
Okay I don't know what you need clarification for when the question is asked of you to justify abortion being murder. Just do that.
Yeah, so we're talking about justification, correct? So then I need to get some clarification.
Yeah, you believe abortion's murder. I said why.
Yeah, so can we get some clarification on justification? That's what I'm asking for.
Why do you believe abortion's murder?
Because of my worldview, which is what I keep trying to tell you. Because
yeah,
from
sure.
my
Can you
worldview.
explain it to me?
I just did.
What within your worldview says that abortion's murder?
Yeah, Andrew, she's basically asking you for an argument that substantiates the conclusion that you're advocating.
Yeah, I understand, but I want to make sure. So hang on, Bart. Calm down, Bart. What I want to make sure of.
Perfectly calm. Maybe you're just not understanding.
Yeah, what I want to make sure of is
that spazzing out. It's gonna be all right, bro.
Yeah, what I want to make. Yeah, you're just
answer the question.
You're still not letting me talk.
Yeah, well, maybe you shouldn't just spew nonsense and answer the question.
There's no nonsense. There's no nonsense I'm spewing.
Well, you're being asked for information and you're not providing one. So, anyways, I'll mute up. Go ahead and continue with Phil.
Except I am. So I just told you.
Why is abortion murder under your view?
Well, now you want to talk about my worldview?
I said, why is abortion murder under your view?
Yeah, so you want to talk about my worldview then, right?
In relation to abortion being murder, yes.
Okay, so then now that we're talking about my worldview, right? You have to understand what is worldview or what is justification from my worldview, right?
Hello? Can you just tell me why abortion is unjustified under your view?
Okay, what is
justification? Yeah, this is not that hard.
I'll tell you what. Tell me what justification means first. So I know what you're asking me. What does that mean?
Hello? Is this...
Wait, hello?
Do you not have an argument for abortion being murder?
I'm asking you. Tell me what
I definitely would have thought that you would have had an argument ready to go, Andrew. What is this?
Can you tell me what justification means here?
Yeah, just like a valid reason.
Oh, because I think so.
Okay, why do you think so?
I just told you, because I do. That's valid, right?
It's circular.
Well, I'm sorry. Are you saying that that's a tautology?
I'm not really understanding how abortion is murder. How is abortion unjustified?
Well, okay, so we're back to justification. Tell me what justification is.
Yeah, I just said like a valid reason. Hello?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What does valid mean here?
This is you completely running and dodging.
How's this a dodge? I'm just getting clarification.
Wait, this is you completely... The question of me asking you murder, this should be very simple for you to answer.
Yeah.
Like, you would just tell me why your view abortion is unjustified.
Yeah, but
there's a nation sustaining pregnancy. Is that why it's unjustified?
Yeah,
do you believe that the baby
has
an entitlement
to
the mother's body? What is it?
When you ask me about justification, I need to know what justification means when you're asking me
I said
that.
under your view, why is abortion murder? I don't care what way you want me to ask it.
Well, I want to know. I want to know what justification means here.
Why is abortion bad under your view? Why abortion bad?
Sorry, you were breaking up again. Say it again.
Yeah, why is abortion bad or wrong or morally impermissible under your view?
You mean why is it not justified?
Sure.
Okay, what does justification mean here when you're asking me that?
This is just dodging.
Yeah, Joe. So
I've already answered this question.
You just said you said
Phil,
valid,
let me jump
but I
in for
feel
a
like
moment, right?
valid and justified mean the same thing.
The question here is being in Joe. 1 second. The question is indexed to whatever your normative view is, right? So you have some sort of normative.
Oh, so now you want to talk about my normative view? Okay, now so you want to talk about my worldview?
This is 1 second. Stop. Calm down. It's going to be all right. Okay, I need to spaz out. It's in the background, right? When we're talking about morals, that it's going to be indexed to your normative position. So your conclusion is that abortion is murder, and we're asking you to justify that, meaning index it to some normative position that would produce this conclusion. Now, do you have an argument for that, or are you just going to state this is my preference or this is my condition that I'm advocating, or whatever else you said to Phil?
Okay, Bart. So when you say I have a normative view, you're asking me about my worldview, right? Is that correct?
Is that part of your normativity part of your worldview? Obviously. So I'm asking you for the argument that produces
so then when you ask me
pro-choice
hang on. When you ask me about a normative claim from my worldview to justify it, then I need to know what justification here means.
Yeah, so justification is indexed to your normativity, meaning that if it's compatible or congruent with that normativity, meaning it doesn't violate it, then it's considered justified. Now, if it goes against that normativity, right, if it violates some principle or some other context within that normativity, it would be unjustified. That's generally what people mean when they're talking about morals. So we're asking you.
So you're just saying from my...
done, Joe.
Okay, go ahead.
Joe, I'm almost done. Done. Yeah. Right. Worldview is a little bit too broad. We're talking specifically about your normative position. Now, maybe you don't have a normative position and you just have some other sort of sensibility that reaches this conclusion. So whatever that is that you use to advocate for this position, that's what Phil is asking you.
I see. So you're saying that as long as the normativity of the claim is congruent with my worldview, then it's justified, right?
No, I said as long as the particular thing in contest is congruent with your worldview, in this case, abortion or anti-abortion, then it would be justified.
I see.
So I'm asking you to produce that argument.
Yes, okay, I understand. Then by what you just said, then it is in fact the case that abortion is not congruent with my normative view.
Yeah, produce the argument, right? Because
I don't understand. Now you're asking me for an argument for it. That's different. You just told me before that justification is just congruent with the view.
The argument. Anybody can state that, right? So let me give you an example.
Then I don't understand. You just said all I need to do is state it.
Well, maybe if you actually listen, you might understand. So let me explain it to you. Let me explain it to you. Yeah. So I could come around and say something like, look, I am in favor of going and conquering every other nation on this planet. That's congruent with my normativity. And I don't care how many people are unalived, right? Now, that's not going to actually produce any sort of justification because it's just me declaring that it's congruent without explicating the congruency. So when we're asking you for an argument that is indexed to your normativity, we want to see how it is congruent and the rationality that you use to reach the conclusion. Because if you reach that conclusion using some sort of absurdity, right, or things that are immediately rejectable, then we're just going to hold you as either a sociopath or a psychopath, and we're just going to exclude your view from the dialectic table. So again, with all due respect, produce the argument which explicates how it indexes to your normativity and produces the conclusion that abortion is murder.
Okay, so, and if I make the argument, you will reject it based on your worldview? Is that what you're saying, Bart? I just want to make sure I'm clear.
No, there's going to be, do you remember what I stated? If there's an absurdity, right, or there's some sort of irrationality, that would either render your view unpersuasive or untenable.
I see.
So that's what we're investigating here. That's why we have this dialectic.
But it'll be untenable from your view then, from your worldview.
No, there's going to be, so right now we're having a dialectic, right? So you're understanding me and I'm understanding you.
A dialectic of two different worldviews?
Well, there's common ground, right? Because we understand each other. So you grant that. So you can see it on that point.
Well, we understand each other's language in a way, but we don't understand each other's worldview.
It's more than just the language. There's norms that you and I are exchanging upon here as far as determining what is rational. So if you produce an argument that reaches the conclusion but uses an irrationality that violates that common ground, then we have reason to reject it in favor of an argument that doesn't violate.
I understand.
Right, the contrary position.
Okay, so I'll steel man and then I'll answer.
So what we're asking. So,
okay, I'll steel man. I want to make sure I got it right, and then I'll answer.
Yeah. But 1 second before, you can give me your word all you like, but one more time just to make sure you understood.
Yeah.
I'm asking you, right? to produce an argument that explicates how under your normative position, whatever that position is, you reach the conclusion that abortion is an unjustified homicide.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. And to steelman the position, as long as it's congruent with my worldview normative claim, then that would make sense, but you can reject it based on your worldview, right?
That's what we're going to investigate. We're going to investigate.
How do you investigate a thing without a worldview?
Yeah.
How do you even do that?
The thing that is, we have common ground on dialectic and epistemic norms.
Well,
those are the things we use to judge the validity.
But now you'd have to have like truth, like
no, we use those norms.
Now we're doing truth claims.
No.
This is just him running completely.
Yeah, he's not providing any argument. Just produce the argument. You already have epistemic.
This is so weird.
You already have. Hey, Joe,
this
Joe,
is.
1 sec.
You're like unwilling to give a reason why you believe abortion's murder.
I'll tell you exactly.
You had no problem.
I'm going to tell you exactly
asking questions of Kermit, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you exactly
problem
why.
having discourse with him. But as soon as I ask you to tell me how abortion is murder, you completely lose the ability to have a conversation.
Okay, look, I'll dive into it. I'll tell you the exact
reason. Joe just produced an argument.
Okay, here's my argument.
You and I already engage on certain epistemic and dialectic norms. You've agreed on that common ground. So now we're going to investigate your argument to see if it's congruent with those norms that we have a common ground on. And I'm not so sure you do. If you did, you would have produced the argument.
Whenever you can let me talk, I'll give you the argument.
Yeah, well, it's been about 10 minutes trying to get to this point. So
I was just trying to figure out what it was that you were asking me, but I think I got it now. Okay.
I think it was very clear, and you understood exactly what I was
chilling.
Asking,
I'll tell you exactly why I believe it's murder. I was chilling in my garage, and God came down from heaven and sat down. We had a beer together, and he was like, "Hey, Andrew, abortion's murder." That informed my view. So since that informed my view, I now believe that abortion is murder because God told me.
This is very reflective of like your debate abilities. You kind of just don't have any.
Wait. So was there a witness to this?
Why would there need to be a witness to it?
We can even grant that.
Wait, was there a witness to this?
Why was there?
I can even grant this. I don't even have to.
You were there, but there was no other witness?
I don't even have to.
There was no other witnesses. It was just me. It was just me.
Right, so it didn't happen.
What do you mean it didn't happen?
It didn't happen.
What? If you have no witnesses, things don't happen?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
When you're talking about having a conversation with God,
What?
It's all in your mind.
So you're just rejecting this out of turn.
I'm rejecting it, that you had no witness because it all happened.
Foxy, you don't even have to reject it. Like, look, Andrew, do you want to go by Andrew or Joe, by the way, because you have like a different name.
I don't care. Either one's fine.
Okay, yeah. So I can even grant that you've had this experience. I don't even necessarily have to explore. I'm not sure why that was funny. I can grant that you've had this experience. I don't have to explore necessarily if it's a hallucination or not.
Okay,
right?
That's fair.
It's just there's no reason, there's no access for me, right, to accept that view or to have any sort of indexing to an epistemic norm or a dialectic norm.
I understand.
Or any sort of normative norm.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So for you, look, it's fine if you've had this experience, right, where you actually believe that God came down and spoke to you or communicated with you otherwise, that abortion is murder. That's fine, right? But it's not going to be any reason to convince anybody else.
Well, hang on a second. I don't understand. How is this a refutation of the argument?
No, do you not understand the point that was just made? Right.
Well, you reject it.
I don't have to.
So you reject it based on your worldview. You reject it based on your worldview.
No, I'm basing on the common ground of norms that you and I utilize right here, and you haven't actually accessed those, right?
Okay.
So you and I have certain rational and dialectic common ground that we exchange upon, right?
Yeah.
And you came and you stated, right, that some force that you call God, some voice, right, that convinced you that it was God. Right. I'm not investigating whether it's a hallucination or not. Maybe it was a hallucination. It's told you that abortion is murder.
Yeah.
Now, I have no way to determine that, right? Because I could easily just state, because let's say like hypothetically somebody came to me and said the exact opposite, right? Or they said some sort of absurdity, right? Like God came to me and said like, well, hey, it's actually okay to perform grape or some other depravity like that, right?
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't take that as any sort of justification, right? Because the norms that we use to index to a normative or rational or some sort of dialectic position, that has nothing in congruence with that, right? So
I don't understand. Hang on, I don't understand.
It's reason for me. It's reason for me to just reject it.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
what do you mean
based
on the norms
almost done. Andrew. Yeah, the norms that you and I
don't understand. At some point, you got to let me respond, bro.
Calm down 1 second.
What do you mean
done,
calm down? You won't stop talking. You're just a prattle machine.
Yeah, because you're not actually responding.
Maybe we'll let you respond.
I don't know.
You're
I
not
don't know how I
responding
can
to anything that I'm
respond.
stating.
I'm not allowed to.
Yeah, and I told you, just give me 1 sec. Just give me 1 moment, bro, and then you can respond all you like. I promise. I'll mute up. So nothing that you're stating, right, has for me any sort of epistemic access. Like you could be making this up. Well, no, for anybody here, right?
What do you mean for anybody?
Nobody here. Yeah, for anybody here, your claim regarding like
other people.
This individual. Yeah, well, look, let's actually survey. I have an inductive basis that I can make this claim.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what an inductive survey is, right? Yeah. So I have this understanding based off of what you're saying, how it's going to be interpreted. Yeah, do you know what an inductive survey is?
What does that mean? Just things you think a survey is going to say? Is that what?
No, do you know what an inductive survey is?
What is it?
Yeah, an inductive survey is based off of prior experiences, how people are going to react to certain information.
So what you think
somebody
that people are going to say?
Wait, 1 second, 1 second. Yeah, exactly. Based off of prior and inductive basis. Do you understand how that works?
I get it.
Yeah. Maybe you don't know what induction is, but I can explain it to you if you're
like inductive reasoning.
That's fine. Yeah, an inductive survey, uses inductive reasoning. Okay. Congratulations. You're able to put 2 and 2 together.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah. So other people over here will not be able to epistemically access the claim that you're making, right? Okay. Even if they could, it doesn't mean it's going to be persuasive for them because it doesn't access or it doesn't index to these common ground rational norms.
Yeah. So let me know when I'm allowed to respond.
So that's the only thing that I wanted to comment on that. Do you have anything persuasive to state? Otherwise, you have no argument is of any contention.
So here's what I'll state, which is persuasive. And this goes all the way back to the beginning of the conversation. The reason I asked about the coherency of what you're asking about with justification is because of exactly what I just did to you. I gave you a justification which you rejected based on your worldview. And your worldview is using hang on, let me finish. Your worldview is using empirical evidence now. You're switching between even different truth claims you're switching between, which is interesting to me. The question just becomes this.
Wait, what truth
Hang
claims?
on, stop. The question becomes this when it comes to justification.
This guy interrupts and then I gave
you a justification. You haven't said the justification is wrong. You haven't said the justification is incorrect. You haven't said anything about the justification except that you just don't believe the justification.
It has no basis.
Can you let me finish? Can you let me finish?
Yes.
Right, great.
You're dodging.
Wait, why are we letting him run this?
Why are you not letting
him?
You're not going to let me respond? You're not going to let me respond? You're not going to let me respond?
None of this fucking matters. This is all
That's so funny.
Why are you running from giving an actual argument for why you believe abortion's wrong?
No, dude, you're co-laughing. Look, I'll mute up. I'll let you spew this for a few minutes more, and then we'll ask you for an actual argument. Go ahead.
Let me know when I can. Yeah, so all we're doing is asking about justification. I gave you a justification. You just say, nope, I don't believe it. Okay, that's great. But if I base...
It's not your actual justification. Oh my God, that's you lying and dodging.
Stop talking. You got to let me at least make the argument.
I can't believe you're actually having the ability to fucking speak right now. This is why men shouldn't have the right to vote, because they're clearly unintelligent and unregulated.
You sound very upset, lady. Sound very upset,
Joe,
lady.
Go ahead. I'm still waiting to hear your response to the critique that I gave.
Yeah. Anyway.
Again,
so because these are claims of justification. So when it comes to claims,
index to the common ground norms.
I wish you would just let me
remember. Let me index to the common ground norms.
Okay.
Wait. 1 second. I want to make sure that you're addressing the critique.
You have to let me. No.
Jojo, I'm going to reel you in, right? Because you're not responding.
I don't agree with the critique, which is what I'm getting.
But you have to respond to the critique, but you're not responding to the critique. Stop co-bluffing.
How would you know? No,
you're not responding to the critique. Let me explain it.
Let me speak.
You'll be able to speak. I just want to make sure that you understand. Calm down for a second. Calm down, bro. It's going to be okay. Why are you spazzing out? Why are you spazzing out? Like, stop for a moment. I promise I will mute up. You'll be able to speak all you like.
You didn't mute up last time.
Why is he running?
You didn't mute up last time when you said you would.
Why is he running? Yeah, I absolutely did. And then you went off on a tangent. So I'm going to reel you back in. I'm going to reel you back in until you understand. So I gave you a critique that your argument has to be indexed to a common ground, rational or dialectic.
It doesn't.
It does. Let me explain to you.
It doesn't.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
You don't understand. You don't understand logic.
You're not understanding the critique.
You don't understand logic.
You have no argument, Andrew.
Joe, if you come and state an argument, right, that is assuming a truth claim, right, that you have no basis to substantiate, because you didn't give any basis that like, hey, God exists or God produced this, right? I can just like state that like you believe that this occurred, but there's no epistemic access that's going to make this persuasive for anybody else on this panel, because anyone else can come and give the exact same basis for the opposite conclusion, right? They can say, well, God came to me and said, actually, abortion is perfectly fine. I can make that argument to you right now and say, I was sitting in my garage. God came to me and said, hey, Bart, you know what? Abortion up till like 12 weeks is actually okay. And you can take that from me,
Did
the
God
big
say
man.
that to you?
But I can claim that. I can claim that. That's the point that I'm making.
Yeah,
There's going to be no basis for persuasiveness.
That is true. That's the point you're making for justification.
Once again, I'm asking you one more time to produce an argument that is persuasive and indexed to the dialectic norms that you and I both agree on. If you can't do that, then you have no argument and your view is dismissed.
Yeah, so
we know he doesn't have an argument. But Andrew, if God came down and was in your garage with you,
who am I allowed to speak to now?
And told you that it's permissible to have SMEC 6-year-old little girls, would you then say it's permissible to have SMEC?
No, I would never be. I would never be like you. No.
If he said that this is totally morally permissible,
I'd never be like you. No.
Wait, I'm telling you, this is what God's telling you.
Did God tell you to have sex with girls, sicko?
I'm asking you if he told you this.
No,
would you just say, okay?
What do you mean? Well, why would God tell me to?
Well, you're saying he told you this about abortion, so I'm seeing how far you'll go with
what
this.
Satan would
if
tell
God
you.
just comes down and tells you that it's okay to like rape children, is it then okay to rape children?
Does God have an ontology?
Do you want to answer my question? Or?
Well, it would violate God's ontology.
I think he's running now. Andrew,
how's that a run? You don't even understand.
He's been running. Bart.
You don't even understand what's being said.
Yeah, you're running.
You literally don't even understand what's being said, which is
now you're projecting. Now you're projecting because you're trying to get away from the critique. Yeah, and now he's cope laughing because he's projecting because he doesn't have a response to the critique. Let's get back to the actual argument that you produced, right? So you said God came down. I'm going to attempt to take this seriously, right? Because as it stands, there's no basis whatsoever to reach your conclusion.
Okay.
So now, establish that God exists. Go ahead.
Why would I need to do that?
Yeah, because there's no basis for me to accept that God came down and spoke to you and said that this is the truth if there's no basis to believe in God.
Well, I don't understand. So you asked me.
What part did you not understand?
Yeah, so can you tell me who told you that hang on, when it comes to murder, if murder is an unjustified killing of somebody,
no, don't dodge, bro.
Can you explain to me?
Dude.
Hang on.
Why are you dodging? Why are you dodging? Dude, stop saying calm down every time you're like spazzing out. Yeah, because you're running. Look,
there's no running.
Let me make this clear. You're running. You gave the argument.
Yeah.
Stop running.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to. I'm trying to give the argument.
The first premise was God came down and spoke.
Yeah, God came down and spoke to me.
Okay, so now justify the first premise. Go ahead.
Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah, how do you know it wasn't a hallucination?
Yeah, wait a second. I'm curious. What negates the justification?
That was a question?
Yeah, nothing.
That was a question?
Nothing negates the justification. Yeah.
Yeah, it does actually, because if it's a hallucination, it actually violates the truth value. So go ahead and explain
how does that negate?
How do you know it wasn't
how does that negate the justification, though?
Yeah, because it violates the truth value of the claim.
How?
A hallucination is incongruent with reality by definition.
Well, hang on. Even if I didn't know that it wasn't a hallucination, that wouldn't violate any truth value.
Yeah, it would. Exactly, it would. Analytically, you know what a hallucination is? Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Let me explain to you because you're confused on what a hallucination is. Yes, it would.
I'm totally confused.
Yeah.
Help me
Analytically,
out,
a hallucination. Yeah, let me explain your confusion away. I don't think I'm going to be successful because that'll take probably all day.
Yeah.
So hallucination, by definition, right, is an incongruency with reality, right? So I'm asking you for premise one that you produce in your argument. How is it that you know it's not a hallucination?
All right.
And I'm asking you.
You have to promise. You have to promise to mute up, or else I can't keep having the conversation because I can't speak.
Just don't run and don't ask.
Okay, then you got to promise. You got to promise to mute up.
No, there's not going to be a promise. There's going to be a cooperative overlapping.
I can't do it if you. Well, at least give us a timer then. At least be fair about it.
No, just you are being treated fairly.
No,
Stop running
dude,
and
you
produce the justification.
You won't let anybody
Why
speak
are you
but
running,
you.
dude?
You won't let anybody speak but you. Give us a
Bro,
timer.
I'm going to mute up and I'm going to wait for the justification. And
Okay,
if you start running again, I'm going to reel you back in.
All right.
Stop running.
No. You got to give us a timer so that I can at least speak without you
Don't
cutting
give
in.
them a timer. You're going to be fine as long as you don't veer off.
So wait a second.
To escape the critique.
So you're gonna continuously cut me off every time I speak. Give me a timer. Don't interrupt. We're talking is really funny
Let's hear
because
it.
in the
Okay,
beginning of the
go ahead.
conversation,
Go ahead and actually give the
Yeah, I'm
justification.
trying.
Yeah, because
See,
you've
you
been
still won't
running
stop,
for the
bro.
last
You
20.
still won't stop talking.
Yeah. Look, I'm
You
gonna
just
mute
won't
up.
stop
You've been
talking.
running for 20 minutes. You've been running for
Bro,
20
I'm just
minutes.
asking
And now,
a couple of questions, clarifying
well,
questions.
stop
You won't
running
stop
and actually
talking.
give the
Answered
justification.
one
You
question.
just won't stop talking.
Andrew.
I did. I told you my justification.
Jesus, Mary and
I'm asking you,
Joseph.
how do you know it's not a
What the
hallucination?
fuck, man?
Yeah, how do you know that you're not a brain in a vat?
And he asked the fucking question. He asked the question.
Fucking idiot.
Dude, this is
What
why
a
I have to
fucking
keep
moron.
jumping
I
in and
don't
reel
understand
you
how
in. You
people
have
watch
no
this dude.
idea how to actually defend a
You
premise
just
or an
got
argument.
brain rot.
Please produce the justification that you were not hallucinating.
He's
Go ahead
brain
and stop
rot.
asking me a question.
I don't even think he knows he's alive, Bart.
So-
Really, seriously, this is fuck.
Oh man,
is
you guys are super mad. Calm down.
This is fuck. You're a fucking moron. You're a dipshit.
Sounds so fucking
Andrew, she's
Rob.
actually perfectly justified in this because you've been running for 20 minutes. I asked you to justify, as expected, right? This is why cooperative
Bart.
overlapping is necessary
Bart,
because
buddy.
you run. Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead, Phil.
Bart,
Or,
all right.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Deb.
it's okay. Joe, hey, I know you're having a great time. We're all trying to have a great time. You're gonna answer the questions. You're gonna quit like freaking out and
Shut
and
up,
act,
bitch. I'm gonna do
right?
whatever I
You can
want.
pretend
I'm gonna
to
do
be
whatever
as
I want,
edgy
you
as you
stupid
are.
bitch. What are you gonna do about it?
Jesus.
Don't just like
What I want, you stupid bitch. What are you gonna do about it? Jesus.
don't just like
Joe, I didn't
continue
mean
to
to
show
concede
how
that quick.
unintelligent
Holy
you
shit,
are.
Joe.
That's what I'm going to do about it. That's what I'm going to do about it. Because I don't care how much anybody else wants to debate you. You're not running the fucking live.
See, this is why I kept reeling him in because ultimately he had absolutely nothing. I asked him to defend why it wasn't a hallucination, and he asked me a question in response. The first thing,
But did you
First
please
thing he
listen to,
does.
please take this in. He's a piece of shit, right? The way he talked to Phil, the way he talked to Roxy, the way he just talked to me. He was talking over you,
That's
but he
because
wasn't.
he's done, Sammy. Like, we can only do this for so long. He wasn't answering any questions.
yeah, he can come back up if he actually wants to defend. That was actually quite fortuitous for him to get dropped, and he slurred, or rather used the B word, precisely because he wanted to get dropped, because he knew that he was getting cornered, and he had no defense for his argument, or rather premise one. I asked him, how is it that you were not hallucinating? And he had nothing, right? He asked me, how do I know that I'm not a brain in the vat, which is a pivot, because he has no justification, and he asked a question instead of producing an argument for premise one. And that's exactly what I expected would happen. This is what Andrew does, right? He doesn't have an actual justification for his view. He basically just presupposes his worldview. And then when he gets pushed on it, he tries to just like escape with this like meta about, well, what justification? Like, what's this? What, stuff that's like incredibly basic that everybody knows he understands, but he doesn't want to actually commit to because ultimately he has no defense for the conclusion that he's advocating. He just wants people to accept his worldview out of thin air.
So Phil, when we talked to, it was like 2 years ago when we talked to him, right?
It had been a while. I think somewhere around that.
I think it was like 2 years ago. He didn't suck that bad.
No.
I'm philosophically, Deb, I'm philosophically illiterate, but me.
It's so funny. No, once you get bad faith, you won't even let me speak. You won't, none of that. I'm just like, fuck you. Then it's time to troll. The second you're like, nope, you're not allowed to speak. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to actually debate. Fuck you. You're going to get messed with. That's how it works.